If you're a small business that offers health insurance to your employees, or maybe you're thinking about offering this benefit to your employees, there may be a tax credit available to you. All you have to do is click the play button to learn more.
Welcome to this episode of Accounting and Tax Tips, Smart Strategies for Small Business Success, with certified public accountant Tina Moe.
You keep hearing about these small business healthcare tax credits, but who do they really affect, and how much of a credit are we talking about here? My goal is to take the next 2 to 3 minutes and break it down in plain English. First of all, in order to qualify for the credit, you have to meet 3 criteria. The first rule is that you have to employ 24 or fewer full-time equivalent employees. The second rule is their wages have to average less than $50,000 per year. And the third rule is that you must pay at least 50% of the cost of their health care coverage for each of your employees. If you don't meet all 3 of these requirements, then you don't qualify for the credit. Now let's talk about what a full-time equivalent employee is. The easiest way to explain this concept is to think about 2 half-time employees. Together, they make 1 full-time equivalent employee, or FTE. So if you have 5 part-time employees, you would tally up their combined hours worked over the course of a year, divide that result by 2080 hours, which equals 40 hours per week, and this will give you the number of full-time equivalent employees, or FTEs, you have. The next step is to figure your average annual wages, and this one is pretty easy. If you pay a total of $100,000 in annual wages and you have 5 FTEs, your average annual wage would be equal to $20,000. Pretty easy, right? And finally, you need to be sure that you're paying at least 50% of the cost of coverage for your employees, not including their families, and for each employee. So now you know the qualifications and how to compute your FTEs and your average annual wages. So let's talk about calculating the credit. You should know that the credit works on a sliding scale. The smaller the business, the bigger the credit. For tax years 2010 through 2013, the maximum credit is 35% of premiums paid for small employers and 25% for exempt employers, such as charities. For tax years beginning in 2014 or later, there will be changes to the credit. The maximum credit will increase to 50% of premiums paid for small business employers and 35% of premiums paid for small tax-exempt employers. To be eligible for the credit, a small employer must pay premiums on behalf of employees enrolled in a qualified health plan offered through a Small Business Health Options Program, or SHOP, marketplace. The credit will be available to eligible employers for 2 consecutive taxable years. So here's how this translates for you, the small business owner. If you pay $50,000 a year towards your employees' health care premiums and you qualify for a 20% credit, you save $10,000 a year. And even if you're a small business employer that didn't owe tax during the year, you can carry the credit back or forward to other tax years. If you qualify for the credit, you'll want to claim the credit on Form 8941, Credit for Small Employer Health Insurance Premiums. And you can also find detailed instructions on the IRS website for this form. If you're a tax-exempt organization, you must file Form 990T in order to claim the credit, even if you don't ordinarily do so. And don't forget, if you are a small business employer, you may be able to carry the credit back or forward, and if you are a tax-exempt employer, you may be eligible for a refundable credit. Now for that tax savings tip. Most of us make several trips a year to Goodwill, or maybe you have AmVets come by and pick up your unwanted household items and clothing. What most people don't know is that the IRS publishes a table with values for these items, and with a little inventory taking prior to the donation, you can really end up with a significant deduction on Schedule A, or itemized deductions. Keep a list of what you donated and be sure to keep a donation receipt, and at tax time, provide this information to your tax preparer and save yourself money in taxes. For more information on the Small Business Healthcare Tax Credit, visit my website at www.actservices-inc.com and look for the IndieBiz TV tab, where you'll also find the Fair Market Value Guide for used items for your donations.
Thank you for watching this episode of Accounting and Tax Tips with Tina Moe. For more great information, visit Tina's website at www.actservices-inc.com. Also browse the other shows found right here at IndieBiz Biz TV shows.